What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today we are taking it back. What do I mean by taking it back? We are taking it back to the roots. Everything that got this channel started, breeding guppies. But we're not going to be just breeding guppies. We're gonna be breeding guppies in an epic setup in an entire guppy breeding farm because I wanna get back into breeding guppies. I kind of fell off and stopped doing it, but you know what? I like it. It's fun, it's interesting, and creating new color strains of guppies, all of those kinds of things. So I want to get back to that. So today we're going to be setting up an epic guppy breeding farm with a few different types of guppies to get started. So make sure you come along on this journey with us. Stay tuned for this video because I'm going to give you an update on the great big massive things that are coming that are sitting right here in my driveway right now. So I want to give you an update on that. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video so you can see what's coming up on the channel. But with that, guys, let's not waste any more time and let's get into this video today.
What we're going to be setting up today are 3 of these 27-gallon plastic bins that you can pick up at Walmart for about $15 a piece. These will make perfect breeding grounds for these guppies. For substrate, we're going to be using some standard pea gravel. This stuff is super dirty, so make sure you clean it before you use it. Now that we have substrate in here, let's go ahead and fill these with water. You'll notice that the water does get a little cloudy, but I promise you it is much cleaner than if I wouldn't have cleaned this rock first. But that's okay, we'll let the filtration system take care of this cloudiness here in just a little bit.
All right, guys, well, we have our substrate in these tubs as well as our water. Now the water's a little cloudy because the substrate was a little bit dirty, but that's okay, it'll filter out. So we're gonna go ahead and get our filtration system set up. And what we're gonna be using for filtration in all 3 of these are sponge filters. And real quick, I'm gonna stop and talk about sponge filters. So if you've been around the channel for a while, you know we love to use these articulating sponge filters right here because you can actually move the arms around and put your sponge however you want. Our tube comes up, has a nice little place for our airline tube to connect, and it suction cups right to the side of one of these plastic tubs or to an aquarium very well. Well, this thing right here is what we've been selling at freshwaterscrub.com for some while, and there's been requests for larger sizes. This one right here will do up to about a 15 to 20 gallon. Well, now we are also offering this guy, which is the exact same one, but it will do up to a 55 to 60 gallon. On top of those, we're going to be offering some of these standard sponge filters as well. This guy right here will do a 10-gallon tank. This guy right here will do a 60-gallon tank. You can find all of these at freshwaterscrub.com. In fact, go check out freshwaterscrub.com and use the code Guppy for 10% off all your orders. For this particular setup though, we are going to be using these 20-gallon sponge filters. Now for a sponge filter to work, we have to get aeration to it. And we're going to use one single air pump to get this aeration to these tubs. So we're gonna start by cutting some airline tube. Oh, speaking of, if you go to freshwaterscrub.com and you buy one of these sponge filters, you will now have the option to add a length of airline hose as well as a check valve. And check valves are super important anytime you're running sponge filtration. We'll talk about why here in just a minute. So make sure you check out that option to get some hose as well as check valves with your sponge filter order. So to hook this up, we're going to start with a small little piece of airline tube. We're going to use our check valve. So what this check valve does is it allows air to flow through it in one direction but not the other. So what happens is airflow goes out this way into your sponge filter. If your power happens to go out, there's a vacuum that starts, a siphoning that will start, just like if you were to siphon out of a hose. So water can actually drain out of your entire tank through your airline hose out of your aerator if the power happens to go out. This particular check valve prevents that from happening. Believe me, I've done it. 65 gallons of water all over the floor because I didn't have a check valve. So with the check valve, what we'll do is we will attach this one little piece of hose right here to this aerator, and then we will run our hose from here to our actual sponge filters. We're actually gonna split this off into 3 using a 3-way gang valve. We'll take another piece of air hose and we'll attach it to the other side of this check valve just like this. That takes care of that. And now the other side of the air hose right to the side of this 3-way gang valve. We'll take this gang valve and we're gonna put it right here on this middle tub. Our outlets from this gang valve to each one of these sponge filters, this is very important. No matter how long the length of run from this gang valve to your sponge filters, if you're running multiple, you wanna make sure that you cut your hose the exact same length for all three. We're gonna make the longest run first. So the longest run on this one is actually going to be to this tub right here. So what I'm gonna do here is just go ahead and attach my hose, clip it into this handy dandy little clip, and then we're gonna go ahead and suction cup this thing right in here. Once we have our length cut, we're gonna come back, we're gonna take this hose off of our sponge filter. So now we have measured out 3 strands of hose the exact same length. What we will do, reattach the hose to this first sponge filter here, go ahead and place it in its bin, and then just for the purpose of hiding this, I'm going to actually run this through like this, right over here to position 1 on this gang valve. So that guy right there is done. Now moving to number 2. So now, why it is important to cut your hoses the exact same length is because air travels the path of least resistance. You now have aeration and filtration to each one. So our next step is we want to go ahead and dechlorinate. We're going to be using some of our favorite dechlorinator, and that is API Stress Coat. Now this specific stress coat is labeled and marketed for ponds. However, I use this in a lot of the bigger setups just simply because it's so highly concentrated, it takes less of the chemical to actually dechlorinate. So now that these have been dechlorinated, to help with the cycle, we're going to go ahead and use some of this API Stress Zyme Plus as well. We're going to go ahead and let these tubs fully cycle for a few days, as well as clear up, and then we will come back at our plants, our fish, and everything else and talk about what we're going to be doing with all of this. So with that, guys, we will see you back here in just a little bit. All right, guys, well, the last time we were here talking about these tubs, they were quite dirty. They had not cleared up at all. We have let these things clear up over the last 24 to 36 hours. They're continuing to cycle. So we're gonna go ahead and start by getting some live plants in each one of these setups. Each one of these setups are gonna get the exact same kind of plant, starting with this Christmas moss. Look at all of this Christmas moss. I have this stuff growing, and I have this stuff for sale at freshwaterscrub.com. So if you want some Christmas moss for your setup, this stuff can be used in terrariums, it can be used in fish tanks, it can be used in all kinds of stuff, but this stuff is great. Look at that, guys. So make sure you go pick some up. You can get this stuff at freshwaterscrub.com, and don't forget, use the code Guppy for 10% off all of your orders. So we're gonna start with some of this Christmas moss. This Christmas moss is full of beneficial bacteria, so it's just gonna help cycle this tank. You can see this stuff come off of here. I'm gonna put this under here and just squeeze it to release some of that bacteria. Another thing we're gonna add in here is going to be Java Fern. Another great plant we sell over at freshwaterscrub.com. So we're gonna drop a Java Fern in here. What we're gonna do is just tuck them into the rocks down here, because you do not plant a Java Fern. You attach them to rocks, things of that nature. We'll add one of these in each one of these setups here. And now we're gonna add some of this red crypt, which are great little plants. We'll add a couple of these in each one of these setups. Once again, this is just really for aesthetics and for guppy fry, just to have somewhere to hide. Next, what we're gonna add is some of this bacopa. Now, bacopa is a versatile plant because you actually can plant this stuff. It is a stem plant, but it does really well floating too. It'll start to actually grow roots off of each segment of the plant, which will allow for, once again, these guppy fry to have something to hide in. I'm also going to add some of this anacharis, which, if you can see this anacharis, this is another one of those plants that you can actually float or plant. But if you notice this anacharis, it has roots coming off of it. It makes for a great floating plant as well. This stuff is super invasive, so if you do not live in the state of Texas, you more than likely can't have it, so it may not be available in your area. Now for some of my favorite plant, this is the Amazon frog bit, which I do sell this on freshwaterscrub.com. It is fully back in stock. This is all plants that I've grown myself, so this stuff is ready to go. I've got limited amounts left right now, so we're gonna go ahead and add some of this into these setups as well. I really like this stuff in my guppy tanks just simply because it will provide a nice hide for the fry up into the root systems of the frog bit. And with that, guys, we have all of our plants in here. Let's take a closer look. So we have our anacharis. You can see all the root system off of that anacharis, and then coming up here We have all of our Amazon frog bit, which has all kinds of root systems. We have our Christmas moss, which is super good. Here's our Java fern coming back over here. Some more nacris and Christmas moss. Back up into our root systems of our Amazon sword, and then a whole bunch of bacopa floating. We have one of our little red crypts here at the bottom, one up here floating, another one up here floating. So everything in here looks good. We've got plenty of nice plants in here for our guppies, and it looks like we actually have some duckweed that made it in here, which will be fantastic because that stuff's going to grow like crazy. So all of our plants are in here, and now without further ado, we just need to go ahead and introduce these fish in here because this thing is fully cycled at this point. These guys right here are called sunset reds. They're super pretty, super cool fish. And there those reds go, those males. Go ahead and move to tub 2. These guys right here are called Sunrise Orange. By the way, these have been fully acclimated. I did that off camera, so I've been cup acclimating these guys. For this bin right here, it's going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to be breeding more types, and these are going to be a combination between endlers and just random male guppies. They're assorted guppies. My purpose behind doing assorted guppies with endlers is I want to start trying to create a new color strain. What I'm going to do is let these guys breed, and as I start seeing that have color patterns I like, I will start culling out. Well guys, with that, this entire setup is done. We got all of our plants in here, we have all of our fish in here. Now it's just a matter of waiting until they produce some young. So check back with us and stay tuned, because we will be giving you updates on all of this stuff, as well as what's going on with little Oswald here and what's going on in here, because we are rehabilitating something right here that is massive. You don't want to miss it.
All right guys, well, hopefully you went on to enjoy this video today. Do you see that? It's a 700-gallon tub. 700 gallons. What do you think we should do in that? I'm thinking we should turn it into a saltwater pond. Comment below and let me know. But also, do you see that right there on the trailer? That's a 350-gallon tub. We're gonna put that into our new fish house coming soon, so just stay tuned. But make sure you comment below and let me know, what should we do with the big blue pond? I'm thinking saltwater pond. Anyway, so hopefully you went on to enjoy this video today. Hopefully you enjoy watching these guppy videos. They're going to be super cool to come back and see what we've done with these over time, because we plan on fully creating some sort of new strain of guppies similar to our unicorn guppies that we had last year. So make sure you visit freshwaterscrub.com, pick you up some of those sponge filters, some of these live plants. Everything is back in stock. Use the code Guppy for 10% off all of your orders, as well as follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Links to both are down below.
And with that, guys, I am truly grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so very much. And hey, we will see you next time.